Politics, the podcast where we explore society, culture, literature, and inevitably politics. It's been quite a week. We've been doing our best to stay cool amid the heat waves, trying to stay calm after that emergency phone alert jolted half the country, and listening in disbelief as reports emerged about Reform's proposal to cut $50 billion from disability payments. In this episode, we sit down with author Patrick Gillan to talk about his crime debut, his work in children's literature, and, in one of our favourite moments, discover which writers he'd invite to his dream dinner party. I hope you enjoy the conversation, and please, audience, be aware that we do discuss themes such as childhood trauma. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Page to Politics. With me this week, we are lucky to have Patrick Gillan, who has written Ladder to Murder, a Philippa Abbott mystery. Now, just to give you some background on Patrick, he was born and raised in Glasgow and later made his home in Tunbridge Wells in the heart of Kent. He has always enjoyed telling stories with humour at the heart. Making people laugh is the best medicine in the world. Ladder to Murder is the first in his Philippa Abbott murder mystery series, inspired by his love of village life and his experience as a parish councillor. He is also the author and illustrator of 2 children's books and a passionate painter. When not writing, he can be found exploring the Kent countryside or chatting with neighbours, some of whom may inspire his next mystery. So welcome, Patrick.
Thank you, Richard.
I've been enjoying reading your book, and I would say it is a page-turner. It's one of those books that's a real page-turner.
Thank you.
And so I read on my phone. I would normally order a paper copy, but I didn't have time. So I've been reading it on my phone, and it's one of those books that I've walked around with the Kindle in my hand whilst I'm doing other things because I want to read it. So I'll just give the audience an overview of the book. When a dog walker stumbles upon a disturbed grave in the ancient churchyard of Meadowhaven, the quiet rhythm of village life is shattered. Buried beneath the soil is Reverend Robert de Beaumont, a respected priest whose brutal murder sends shockwaves through the close-knit community. Detective Chief Inspector Gary Alexander is called in to investigate, and it quickly becomes clear this was no random act of violence. The killing is deliberate, personal, and tied to a secret for older than the village itself. As Alexander and his team dig deeper, they uncover layers of faith, power, and loyalty, along with an ancient pledge that some would kill to protect. As suspicion spreads and long-buried truths rise to the surface, Meadowhaven's residents must confront the uncomfortable reality that darkness can thrive even in the most idyllic places. Blending a modern police procedural with historical intrigue, Ladder to Murder is a dark, atmospheric British crime novel about belief, betrayal, and the dangerous price of uncovering the truth. Perfect for readers who enjoy village mysteries, intelligent crime fiction, and slow-burn investigations with depth and atmosphere. So I'm sold already. That's good. So what brought you to writing? Because I understand this is a relatively new pursuit for you. Is that right?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, what happened to me was that after COVID, when we were all paralyzed with fear, I decided, what am I going to do? So Matthew, my partner at the time, now my husband, decided that he would buy a shed and fill it with wine. And I decided that I would write a children's book. And I wrote a children's book called The Hedgehog and the Crow. And a mate of mine who has a printing business printed a few hundred, and I sold them. And to be honest, I thought that was it. I thought that was it. I thought I was done. I've achieved something, move on. And then it must have been a couple of years later when I felt I had a bigger story inside me. Yeah. It was desperate to get out. And I love murder mysteries. Come on, who doesn't love murder mysteries? I love Vila on the telly. I love all that kind of thing. And I've read dozens of books. But you know what? some of those books, Richard, I thought to myself, I was reading it and thinking, oh, I wouldn't have done that. I would have done this. I wouldn't have done that. I would have done this. And I thought, oh, for goodness sake, Patrick, why don't you write the book you want to read? And that is exactly what I did.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. And I think there's been a bit of a trend towards turning towards these kind of more gentle stories.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were inspired by Richard Osman, the Thursday Murder Club, which are immensely popular. He seems to have that whole corner of the market. And also, what's his name? The Reverend Richard Cole, thank you. Who used to be a reverend, actually just down the road from me, because I'm in Northampton.
Really?
Yeah, he was in Wellingborough. But he's wrote one which I think fits into this genre.
Yeah, that's right.
And I've noticed, like with television projects, that I think maybe because of the chaos that's happening in the world, people are wanting to escape to more gentle storytelling.
Totally.
So I'm thinking of like Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse, their fishing show. Small Profits, and I think Sean Bean's doing one about birds. But although this is about murder and the police and things like that, I got a comfort from reading it, and I like to escape into that environment.
Excellent. Yeah.
So what I want to ask is, and I apologise if I don't, I should know this, but is Meadowhaven a real place?
No, Meadowhaven is a fictional village, but actually Pembury is a real place where I live. I'm speaking to you from Pembury. Okay. And of course, the book is based on Pembury, but I've changed, I fictionalized the names of the churches. So St Ethelbert's, for example, is actually St Peter's. And the Camden Arms pub is the Plough. But in 400 years ago, it was actually called the Plough. So,
that's nice.
So that out of history. Yeah. So, I mean, and one of the first things that readers said to me when the book was published and they downloaded it or bought it, whatever, they said to me they recognised Pembury right away.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, I love that.
Richard, I didn't do that great of a job.
Well, I was wondering, because one of the things I liked about the writing style was some of the history being put in. And
and can I just tell you that in all of my books, I love history, I love archaeology, I love all that kind of thing, and I love humour especially. And I wanted in these 6 novels that I'm writing, I wanted to have a link to some big event in history. So Ladder to Murder is the ancient artifact, which actually, I won't say too much because people have got to read it, but it goes back to the time of the Empress Helena, who was the mother of, what's his face, the emperor at the time, will come back to me. And this is way back like in the 4th century. And she goes to Jerusalem. This is all historical fact. She goes to Jerusalem, discovers the place where Jesus was crucified, and gets some digging going on, and they dig up fragments of the cross.
Right.
So that is not. So that is part of it, but it's not the central core of it. I can't say that publicly, but because people still got to read it. So, so I had that. And in my second novel, that just stop me if I'm rabbiting on.
No, carry on, please.
In my second novel, that has something about the Napoleonic Wars in it. Yeah. So
I'm hooked already. I love that.
Yeah. And it's the third novel, which I've just started, has something in it about the Neolithic people who arrived in a particular location in Kent. And I better not say any more.
So you've finished your second one already?
Yeah. It's been edited at the moment, and I hope to get it published. No, I don't hope. I will get it published in October.
Well, that's something to look forward to. So it's with your editor, because I was going to ask about your writing process. Do you have beta readers? Do you use friends and family? What's your process?
Yeah, I have a lady. Her name is Dillis, and she's a beta reader. And I met her through Facebook, and she lives in the village. And I went along to see her. And for my first novel, Ladder to Murder, she was my beta reader for that. She's absolutely amazing. Then, unfortunately, she took ill, so she couldn't beta read for my second novel. She's
Oh.
recovered now, and she'll be beta reading for my third novel. But I have two friends. One is a retired GP, and another one was a teacher, and they've been proofreading for me.
Mm.
So has Matthew, my husband. He's been proofreading for me as well, and so I've got them, and I use chat. GPT for grammar and punctuation because I'm dyslexic. You see, I left school at 15
Mm.
with no qualifications. So I've tried to cover every angle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, this is the second week in a row that we've had a dyslexic writer. And it's right at the start of the book that you talk about it in before the story starts in the acknowledgements.
Yeah.
So it was clearly important to you, maybe that journey. So
Totally.
what was studying English like for you at school?
Oh, goodness me. I loved English, but I couldn't really focus in school because um, I was designated by social services along with my siblings a child at risk. We were children
Right.
at risk. We lived in an abusive household and lots of things happened. I put that into my memoir, which is not an easy read, but it's out there now. That's abuse survived and thrived. So I I just, and also I was bullied. I was bullied mercilessly at school because I was effeminate, because,
Yeah.
I used to get bullied for having a girl's voice. I used to get my head kicked in or my heat kicked in Glasgow, as they say.
Yeah.
Here's a funny thing, but it's not funny, but I was Roman Catholic. So across the road from my school, there was a Protestant school.
Yeah.
So I got beaten up for being a Catholic and I got beaten up for being gay at the same time. So yeah, I took a hell of a beating.
Did you read Shuggie Bain?
Oh yeah, hey, he lived around the corner from me.
No way. Really?
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, I didn't know him obviously,
Yeah.
but when I read his book and he described the street and he named the street, I thought, oh my goodness me, I was like 3 doors up. Isn't that not
Wow.
amazing? I know.
Because it sounded like that story that you had lived it.
I know. Well, you know what? A lot of us have got stories like that. A lot of us came from deprived backgrounds, like Shuggie Bain, like Billy Connolly. I was listening to Billy Connolly's documentary the other night. I mean, that man is awesome. He is like the best Scottish comedian ever on the planet.
Yeah,
and
love him.
Billy was doing a documentary, walking around Glasgow, the tenement flats, the deprivation, the bomb sites, and I thought that is my background. That is my background right there.
Yeah. But you managed to thrive. I
managed to thrive, and what happened to me was that so between the ages of 9 and 15 was what all the abuse was happening and everything else, and the guy that was involved would eventually be shot through the head in our flat. He was doing drugs and all sorts and providing drugs. And so I went to see, actually, because I'd left the house a few weeks before. I was 15 and I read it in the paper. It didn't name the street. It didn't name the person, but I knew it. I had this feeling, this instinct. So I went up there and it was all cordoned off. And but to be honest with you, Richard, I thought my mum had murdered him because it was very violent. And the police let me go in and I saw the place, the room, the wall where he was shot dead. And, when I come away from there was just a sense of not that revenge or anything, just relief.
Right.
This man who would never go to jail for what he did to me. So there you are. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yeah, and like a karma, maybe.
Like a karma. kind of thing. So what happened to me, the thriving came when at age 17, I became a Christian. I had
Right.
an encounter with Jesus Christ, which was so overwhelmingly powerful
Wow.
that it completely changed my life. And for the first time in my life, I knew love. I knew
Mm.
love. And it was love that was pure. It was love with no agenda. It was pure love. And from there, I joined a church, a big Baptist church in Glasgow, Queen's Park Baptist on the south side of Glasgow. And there, that is where I thrived,
Good.
because I learned words. I loved words, by the way. I love
Yeah.
words, but I didn't know a lot of words because I wasn't able to get the education. And I
Yeah.
remember that one Sunday when the pastor was preaching, he used the word profound. I'd never heard the word profound,
Right.
and I was absolutely addicted to
Mm.
words after that, and I began to study. And so church for me became a school. It
Yeah.
became a college. It became a university. From there, I went to college, a real college, and I got certificates. English was one of them. And then I went on to theological college and got a degree in theology. And so my thriving, I flourished in church, and
Mm.
then my thriving continued after that.
I used to recommend, I used to be an English teacher, and I used to recommend to my students, if at A level, that the first book they read is the Bible, because all the great literary texts that we were going to
Oh,
study had references to it,
I
or were
know.
based on
I know.
stories in that. And
I
it's
know.
beautifully written as well.
And here's the thing. Today I was up in London. I go up to Southwark Cathedral from time to time because I just love it. I love the architecture. I love the history.
Mm.
I love the whole ambience. I love the incense. I love the whole thing. And I was up at 9 a.m. this morning there. And, I'm sitting there. There are Roman remains. There's a Roman
Wow.
pavement. There's a medieval coffin. Shakespeare's brother, Edmund Shakespeare, is lying alongside me. He's dead, obviously, a long time.
Yeah.
And Shakespeare lived there for a while in Southwark, near the Globe Theatre, where
Wow.
Hamlet was
Yeah.
performed, where Othello was performed.
Yeah.
I can't remember the question.
That's okay. We were just talking about religion, but you made me think then when you were talking about it, because recently I went to Great Brinkton Church, which is the one next to the Althorpe estate where Princess Diana grew up.
Oh, wow.
And that's actually where the family tomb is for the Spencer family.
Yeah.
Except for Diana being the exception, because they couldn't have somewhere that would
No.
become a tourist destination.
Yeah.
But whilst we were in there, I was with my auntie, and she said, "Oh, you'll like this. Come and look at this." And just in this small village in Northamptonshire is the tomb of the great-great-grandfather of George Washington, the first
No
president.
way. Really?
So John Washington, his name was.
Yeah.
The great-great-great-grandfather of George Washington grew up in
Oh,
Northamptonshire,
wow.
in
That's
this little
incredible.
village. And
Yeah.
actually, whilst we were there, a group of Americans came in, because
Yeah.
it has become a tourist place for that. But it's a
Yeah.
beautiful church. It's really
Yeah.
well run.
Well, I've got to make a visit there.
And you could just sit and just immerse yourself. You're talking
Wow.
about the smell and the
Yeah.
feeling you get when you're in
Yeah.
there is
Yeah.
very, very spiritual
Yeah.
and good for the soul, I would
And you
say.
know what? You don't even have to be a believer, Richard, to
Yeah.
go into these places, because, the world, the chaos in our heads
Mm.
with everything that is going on, to get to a place where you can be still and reflect and just
Yeah.
look at the Norman architecture, the Roman architecture, the whatever, and just be still. I mean, whoever you are, whatever your belief system, belief or no belief,
Yeah.
they're beautiful experiences, and there's very few places like that where you can go and
Yeah.
do them.
I've always liked the idea. I've never been to one, but I maybe I will one day, of like a Quaker meeting, because I understand that maybe once a week they just sit for an hour in silence and
In silence.
in contemplation
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
reflection.
Yeah.
And it seems to me, as you say, with the noise of the world, how healthy is that? Yeah.
Yeah, good for the mental health. It really is good for
Yes.
the mental health. But I mean,
Mm,
church is good for the mental health in that you're engaging with people. So many people are isolated. They're
mm,
isolated. I keep hearing about people who are retired and they do nothing. They become couch potatoes
yeah,
because they weren't involved in their village or their town or the city or whatever else.
yeah,
Whether that be in, parish council like I was for 18 years or in politics, and they just vegetate. And
mm,
yeah, so engaging with people is a really, really good thing, and stillness is a really good thing. I'm not
yeah.
sure I could be a Quaker. I don't think I could keep silent for that long. I'll be honest.
Well, people who know me would say the same thing as well. There's no
Well,
way.
I
But
certainly might.
maybe that's why we need that, though. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So what, Patrick, what is your writing process? Do you have a routine? Do you have a word count a day? Or do you just write when you're inspired?
I can tell you exactly what my routine is, Richard. It's the same as Stephen King's.
Okay.
I listened to a lot of authors before I started really writing seriously.
Yeah.
And J.K. Rowling, Ken Follett, Richard
Mm,
Harris, I love them all, and Robert Harris, and Stephen King. Now, I don't read horror, but
mm,
I'd listened to Stephen King, and it was about an hour's interview, a podcast like this. And what a
yeah.
fascinating guy.
Well, he wrote
Um,
the book on writing,
yeah, exactly.
which
So,
is like
so
a Bible for a writer. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the question, the one question he was asked that really stuck in my head is he was asked that the question you've just asked me, what's your routine and da 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 da.
Yeah.
And he calls himself, he said he's a pantser. He
Okay.
flies by the seat of his pants.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I thought that is me to a T. I
Right.
fly by the seat of my pants. I have no clue until I sit down at my laptop and that first line comes into my head.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that triggers one thought, a paragraph, a sentence, a
Mm.
a chapter. And so, I fly by the seat of my pants and I write everything in one manuscript. So I'm on a platform with other authors, independent authors, right?
Yeah.
And I hear people saying, oh, after 10 years, I finished my novel. And I thought, my
Mm.
God, I finished mine after, just under a year.
Right.
How
Okay.
did it take 10 years? Well, I mean, everybody's different, so good for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah,
And do you type or you longhand?
no, I have my notepad beside me, so
Yeah.
I've heard something, I've written it down or whatever else, but I'm on my laptop. I'm on my
Yeah.
laptop and I have a bigger screen behind my laptop so I can see the words. So I do it like that. Yeah. But I mean, if I'm listening to something on Audible, maybe I hear something or
Mm.
maybe, or YouTube, I'll, in the middle of the night, I'll try and remember it. Of course, I never remember it in the morning, Richard.
No, I do exactly the same. I look at my notepad by my book by my bed because I've been told by everyone to do this. I'm like, it just says something like circus. I'm like, I know that in the night that was a profound, probably the best idea ever, but
Uh-huh.
it means nothing to me now. I can't remember. And do you listen to music whilst you write?
No, I can. I cannot be distracted. I love music,
Yeah.
but I love what are they called? Imagine Dragons. Imagine.
Oh yeah, I know who you mean.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you know who
yeah,
I mean, don't you? Yeah, I love music. No, I don't. I tried, to be honest. I thought I'll put some classical music on in the background. That'll be
yeah,
lovely. That'll
yeah,
get
yeah.
me in, give me the vibe. But oh my goodness me, I need nothing else but my own head
Okay.
because I'll be honest, I've got a lot of people in my head desperate to get out. So there's no room for any more noise.
So you could have a few pseudonyms, couldn't you, and write all these different books in your
Uh,
different personalities?
yeah, I could do. Yeah.
So I find I think it might have been Zadie Smith, who's a writer, said she doesn't listen to music while she's writing because the lyrics work their way into the script,
Yeah.
like without you realizing.
Yeah.
And also, I personally find if I listen to classical music, the writing can get too lofty.
Yeah,
or pretentious.
exactly. Yes, it's absolutely true. It impacts it goes into your emotions, and
Mm,
your emotions have got to be as pure as they can be.
yeah.
They mustn't be contaminated. So, any music would contaminate my thinking and my emotions, and I would get it all wrong.
And what kind of journey does your first draft take to the finished, submitted to publishing?
Well,
Are they similar? Because I know in my first novel, they were barely recognizable as the same text.
oh, that's interesting.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that you've written a number of books. I've got to read one of your books now, and I will do. Do you know what they take a very similar journey, but it's interesting because Markham Hall, Murder at Markham Hall, the one I've finished, is I mean, it's so different in so many ways, but
mm,
it's got the same vibe. You know what
right.
I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
readers have said to me, this is what they enjoy. Because what they said to me with Ladder to Murder is they can hear the people that know me. I don't know about the people who buy it, everyone else in the world.
Yeah.
But they say they can hear my voice.
Oh, and
Yeah, they can
that's
hear.
sometimes very difficult to get, isn't it? And
I think that
when you
must be.
start
I mean,
writing.
and that's not something I learned. It's not
Mm,
something someone taught me. It's just how I am. Because when I'm writing, I hear my voice. You know what I mean?
right.
When I'm writing for Jeremy, Philippa Abbott's nephew, who's so gay and so funny,
Right.
I hear my voice, and yet at the
I love
same
that.
time, I hear Detective Chief Inspector Gary Alexander, the Glaswegian, because I know the
Mm,
Glaswegian mindset and I know
yeah.
Glaswegian humor. And
Mm,
so I hear Gary and then I hear Jeremy, and I hear
mm,
Philippa because I know people like Philippa. I'm fortunate. I mean, I was brought up in a council house in a slum estate, but, I mixed with people who are very wealthy and we go on holiday to Cornwall with them and
mm,
other friends who are well off, have had a private education, a completely different background to mine.
mm,
And so Philippa Abbott is based on those kind of people. She went
mm.
to the right school, she became a forensic psychologist,
Yeah.
she had all those great things. I mean, I would love to have done that myself, to be honest, but I didn't have the opportunity. So
Mm,
yeah, because that's one of the questions that I was asked. Is your novel based on anyone else? Um,
mm.
and the real answer is this: the only one that's based on a real person was my beta reader Dillis. And
Okay.
in my book, I've got Detective Sergeant Dillis Hopper, known as Hopper the Copper. And Dillis, my beta reader, is
Yeah.
as straight as a die. Oh my goodness
Mm,
me, she could cut you in half with her tongue. And
right.
that's why I love her. I love her. I love her honesty. And I
Yeah.
asked her, I said, can I call Detective Sergeant Dillis Hopper after you? Would you mind? And so she was good about that. And the only other character that's based on a real um, being is
Mm.
Monty the dog. Monty the dog is a golden Labrador who lives in my street. So
Oh, wonderful.
everyone else is completely made up.
Yeah.
And, it was like they were all queuing up in my head, desperate to get out. Do you know what I mean?
And do all the characters return in the second book?
Except the baddies.
You can't give spoilers away, but there'll be reoccurring characters, and Kindle audiences love that, don't they?
Oh,
A
this is what
series.
people love.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those other questions that people ask me. Does Philippa come back? Does Donna come back? Does
Yeah.
Jane come back? Does Edwin come back? Does Jeremy come back? They all love
Yeah.
Jeremy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm going to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be a kind of continuum. You know what I mean? I
Mm.
want people to be familiar with the characters, but the story will be different
Yes.
each time.
Okay, I just wanted to read a couple of reviews because you mentioned audience reviews.
Mm.
This is just online. I don't think they're people you know. Haven't read a good whodunit in years. Couldn't put this down as every chapter added more mystery to the story. Very funny too. Some genuine laugh out loud lines. And I agree with that. And I could
Yeah.
actually picture these eccentric characters. A good winter read that was hard to put down. A great debut novel.
Wow.
And this is from Jane. Absolutely loved this book. Lovely characters and so many twists and turns throughout. Well written. Can't wait for the next book. I agree. I really sense from the first page an authority and confidence in the voice, which I think is very unusual for a debut. So
Yeah, yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Someone called Louise says, brilliant book. If you like crime novels, this is one for you. Short chapters, so you end up thinking just one more chapter before I put the book down and end up reading lots more. I agree. And it did remind me a bit of the Da Vinci Code because
Yeah,
without giving too much away, there's a storyline about secret orders and
yeah,
I
yeah,
like reading it because I mean, I remember Da Vinci Code was a real page turner for me because I was learning so much about symbolism and
yes,
all the,
yes,
the
yes,
Freemasons and things like that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
this book reminds me of that because you
yeah,
think one more
yeah.
chapter.
That's right.
I also like the incorporation of Facebook because
Yeah,
I think authors sometimes don't know how to confront mobile phones technology. I
yeah,
find a lot of authors just leave it out, in fact,
yeah.
myself included.
And the thing about Facebook, I mean, again, that was just a random thing. I'm going to put Facebook in there because our village Facebook page. I don't know if you read Facebook, but read village platforms. But I mean, they're so hilarious. You'll get, somebody will post. I've seen a cat in the woods this
Yeah,
morning. Has anyone lost a cat? A
yeah.
cat in the woods. Who would have thought it? And what's the other one? There's a helicopter flying around. Does anybody know what's happening?
Yeah,
And you know what? It's Richard. It's priceless, and I have taken those and I've used them in my novel.
it's just fishing. Yeah, yeah. You can find so much.
Because
There is one.
they're so good.
There is one near
They're
me,
so
and
clever. But the
uh,
other thing I wanted to quickly say is that, so people ask me, if I base my characters on anybody else. But no, I'll tell you what I did. Have you heard of Maya Angelou, the
yes,
famous Black American
yeah,
poet?
yeah. And
She's
the Cage
passed
Birkin
now.
thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
what a legend. She said
yeah.
something that stuck in my head. She said, you forget what people told you, but you remember how they made you feel. And that's how I built my characters
That's
on
so
the
true,
people I've
isn't it?
met
Yeah.
and how they've made me feel. And those feelings have got into my characters.
Okay. Yeah, that's so true. And I think that makes them three-dimensional characters who
Exactly.
seem very much like real people.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's why people relate to them, I believe.
yeah.
Mm.
And how are you approaching marketing? You're obviously doing this, but you've got a big online presence, which is great.
Great.
I imagine you're very good in person. Have you done any readings or anything like that?
Oh my goodness, yes. I've been to book clubs. In fact, last week I did. I was back at a library that I'd been to before to doing a book club, and on Thursday last week, this week just gone, I was with a bunch of kids, 15 kids in a library, because
Wow.
this is this is the annual year of reading.
Okay.
I think the Queen is somebody who promotes that as well.
Yeah.
So this is it's the year of reading. 2026 is the year of reading. And so I was invited as a local author to speak to these kids on my children's book, The Hedgehog and the Crow. And I made a hat because I create things, and I made a hat with animals coming out and to inspire the kids, because
Okay.
there was they had tasks afterwards. The task was to write a book.
Yeah.
They could use a hedgehog, they could use the giraffe or the dog or the pig or whatever else I had on my top hat,
Yeah.
And these kids, I mean, the stories were fantastic. I mean, honestly, I laughed out loud so much.
Because it's the honesty, right? Is they have no
Oh,
filter.
they're so honest.
Yeah.
And I go down to the school. I've been down 3 times this year. I take year 6. And again, it's teaching them writing stories and creating characters.
Great.
And yeah, I do go to book clubs and I enjoy them as well. But being with kids is something phenomenal. But there was one book club I went to in Surrey. It was through somebody I know that I meet in Cornwall. We were on holiday, and she goes to a place down there, but she lives in Surrey, and she invited me along to her book club. Now,
Yeah.
she's quite posh, So I was expecting, it to be quite posh. And it was, because we arrived to champagne and canapes in a book club. Come on. I mean,
Wow. I thought white wine, but champagne. Wow.
champagne. No, the wine came after. No, I don't drink
It's just an
alcohol. So.
excuse to get absolutely blotted.
They were all blotted. But hey, these people are like deadly serious. I'm not joking. And my friend, Jean, she warned me. She said, now, I said to her, what do you call it? She said, we call it the Old Farts Book Club. And I said, oh, that's really funny. And so I got there, right? So there's these ladies. They're all very Marjorie from The Good Life, right? Their hair's coiffured. They've got beautiful clothes. They're all well spoken. They're very polite. And after we came in from the garden, after the champagne and cannabis, they sat down and my friend Jean said, now remember, they're very serious people. And I said, oh, okay. She said that they take notes and they've got to read the book from cover to cover and take notes. So we all sat down and they're all sat there and they pull out all these notepads from their handbags or whatever, right? And their pens. And I think, oh my goodness, they're going to crucify me.
They're going to grill you. Yeah.
They're going to say, we found so many typos. You missed a comma. And so it all started by me introducing myself. And I said, thank you for inviting me to the Old Farts Book Club. And the deadly silence.
Oh, and they weren't aware that it was called that.
It wasn't called that. My friend was kidding.
Fantastic. You might as well have worn an animal hat.
I nearly ran out the door. But you know what? As I guzzled the white wine, they loosened up. And it was just, it was one of the best experiences ever.
Oh, fantastic. So,
yeah, I do an online presence. I've just started an author's page, a Facebook author's page, and that's doing well. I'm enjoying doing that. And I've gone into the film business, Richard. I am filming.
Right. Are you? What are you filming?
Like
promos?
So, just little videos talking about writing.
Yeah.
Character building, my journey in writing, all that kind of thing. But and also the other day, I took them to the crime scene in Arterton.
Okay.
Reverend Robert de Beaumont is buried and the dog finds the hand. So I took them there to the church of St. Ethelbert's, which is St. Peter's really, which is a Norman church. Fabulous. So we did that. And then this morning I did around Southwark, got Shakespeare in there, who was a phenomenal writer, a legend. An icon. So I've started uploading them onto my author's page, and that's quite exciting. Yeah,
good. I understand that TikTok is very good for writers.
I'm not on TikTok.
No, neither am I. But my kids tell me that's where it's at.
Right.
So I might delegate that to them. I'll be like, okay, every book sale will split the.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that because my kids, they're all computer savvy. Like all kids these days, so...
they know it, right?
I might do that. They know it, yeah.
Okay, so, Patrick Gillan, this is the 60-second off-script section. So these are just 3 fun questions to get to know you better. We like to do this just at the end, just as a bit of fun. So, if you were Prime Minister for the day, and I always suffix this by saying that might be likely at the moment, that everyone has a go. But if you were the Prime Minister for the day, what would you do?
Change the Prime Minister? No, that's not.
Retire. Take the day off.
Well, I'll tell you, Richard, this is an easy one. The health service. The health service. I went through 3 years. I was diagnosed with genetic hemochromatosis.
Right.
Now, you probably never heard of it. Even GPs have not heard of it. Right. Okay. Right. So I was. My diagnosis came 8 years after it was picked up by a doctor who did nothing about it. And genetic hemochromatosis. Your mum and dad have to have the gene, right?
Yeah,
my dad died age 38 due to alcohol and had an accident. My mum died at 58, alcohol and cancer. So I never got the chance to ask them about the disease. Well, they didn't know about it. I didn't know about it.
Probably wouldn't be aware.
So anyway, this genetic hemochromatosis, is when your body produces too much iron. Okay, so
Right.
your iron levels, Richard, will be somewhere under 50. Okay, so by the time I was diagnosed at Guy's Hospital in London, this would be 2023, 24, 2023, my iron levels were 6,000.
6,000.
6,000. So the iron attacks.
That makes you Iron Man.
Yeah, it does. I was Iron Man. And
Iron Man.
here's the other thing. I used to, we go away abroad quite a bit, and I'd come back and people would say, my goodness me, Patrick, you're so tanned. It was the iron.
What? So it was changing your skin?
Changing my skin colour. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
But I
right.
looked fabulous, even
But
though
you were getting symptoms, were you like
I was
negative
getting,
ones?
oh my goodness me,
Yeah.
the symptoms, fatigue, like you would not believe. Going off food. One day I liked broccoli, the next day I hated broccoli. One day I liked porridge, the next day I hated porridge. And it was driving my friends crazy.
Because there's a lot of iron in broccoli, isn't there?
So
maybe if you were peaking, yeah.
Well, exactly. And so my friends were saying, Patrick, we don't know what to cook for you. One day you like fish, then you don't like fish one day. And I said, and my friend who's proofreading for me, retired GP, said to me, you have got to go to your GP and get your advanced medical notes. Something is going on because I was terrible arthritis in my hands and feet. And the only reason I found out that I had it was because my brother was diagnosed.
Right.
My brother was diagnosed and his GP said, you've got to tell the rest of the family.
Right,
so
okay.
That's what he did. So if my brother hadn't alerted me, I wouldn't have known, and I may have died because it attacks the heart, the brain, and the liver. So by the time I was diagnosed, I had severe cirrhosis of the liver.
Wow. As a non-drinker?
No, I was drinking at the time.
Oh, you were drinking at the time. Sorry.
I'm blaming the disease. All right.
Right. Okay.
So I had severe cirrhosis of the liver. Now we all with stopping alcohol 4 years ago now, come December, my liver has gone back to near normal.
Wow. Okay.
Because the liver heals. Fortunately, my brain and my heart are okay. But I am a high risk for liver cancer. If you have this disease, you are a high risk for liver cancer. But, I'm doing so well. So there's no treatment. So every week, right, for 2.5 years, every single week, I had to have a pint of blood drained out my body.
Oh, my word. Really?
You have to drain a pint of blood out your body. It's called venesection.
Right.
They pull the blood out. They don't put any more blood in.
It's like the leeches, in Victorian times.
This is what it is. It's the venesection is modern day leeches. So they pull the blood out, take away a pint and all that kind of thing. Because my blood was in Africa, they call it sticky blood. Because my blood was like purple, it was sticky. By the time I was done with that, my blood was a lovely rosy red colour. I'd kind of gone back to normal. And actually, it's in Scotland, this disease is called the Celtic curse because it affects Scots, Irish, and Scandinavian peoples. Yeah.
Really?
So, but I'm in a much better place now. Hey, praise the Lord.
Well, we're all thrilled to hear that. So your first day, you'll make it a priority to sort the NHS out. I mean, what a job, but yeah.
But you know what? In the 3 years that I was in oncology, sitting alongside, cancer patients, having treatment, the nursing staff were phenomenal. I mean, and doctors, but mainly the nursing staff who were there for me, doing taking away the blood, cheering me up, bringing me a custard cream. They knew I like custard creams. Yeah, and in those 3 years, the whole department changed 3 times.
What, like staff turnover?
Yeah, turnover. Because where did the nurses go? They went to agencies.
Because they get paid more for an agency.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that's got to stop.
And the NHS have to pay the agency plus the wage.
Absolutely.
So it's costing them. So it would be much more beneficial to just pay the nurses.
It would be much more beneficial to pay the nurses a blooming decent wage.
Yeah.
Because they're highly qualified people. They're brilliant people. They're martyrs. They listen to your sobs and your sorrows. They laugh at your jokes. And they're just fantastic people. And I do know that the Prime Minister, he wants to do something about this. You know,
He has said,
does.
hasn't he?
You want? Do you know what? And I've never been a Labour supporter, but you know what? I believe that he's sincere about it. I really do.
Yes.
So I'm going to, support him in that. If he can do something at the NHS, keep our nurses working for the NHS.
Absolutely. And whenever I've had blood taken, you're always pleased when it's a nurse, aren't you? You're terrified if it's a doctor. Because the nurses are good at it, aren't they?
The nurses know what they're doing.
They do, but they're very respectful and don't say it. Okay. So I get the impression you'd like a dinner party. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, yes.
So if you could invite 3 authors to your dinner party, who would they be?
Well, I can tell you, first of all, one would be Stephen Fry.
Stephen Fry, yeah.
Stephen Fry loves words. He loves words.
He used to do Planet Word, didn't he?
He is incredible. And I think, I can't make everybody gay. I would like Oscar Wilde. But
I would choose Oscar.
Oscar Wilde. Okay,
I'd have
Oscar Wilde.
Yeah.
Because, wow, I mean, you would just be listening to him all night with all his stories.
You could listen to Stephen Fry and Oscar Wilde talk.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Just a fly on the wall. Just listen. I'll just sit there going, don't mind me. You two just go.
No, don't mind me. It's my house. I'm paying for the dinner. And the other one I think I would have is Ken Follett. I mean, Ken Follett. Have you read Pillars of the Earth?
No, I haven't actually.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to write that down.
Oh, my goodness me. Ken Follett, boy, what a writer. Powerful. And his stories, start back in like the 6th century and then move forward to maybe the 12th century. And it might be all centered around an abbey or something like that. Pillars of the Earth is set that way. And also he is fantastic writing spies and adventure. And you're totally sucked into his novels. He is just...
It sounds like Ladder to Murder. So
it sounds a bit. He probably got the ideas from me, actually. Although he sold millions of books.
He owes you a glass of wine, I reckon.
He owes me a glass of wine. He's fantastic. Yeah, so that would be my 3 offers.
Okay, well, I'd hope Ken would get a word in edgeways, but I'm not sure. And finally, I know you said you don't listen to music, but if your book had a soundtrack, or a song, or an album, what do you think it would be?
Oh, wow. I think it would be Eurythmics.
Right.
I think,
okay.
What's the one where he's singing with a female is famous and Richard Cole.
With his band. So it's like Sweet Dreams or
that's Annie Lennox.
Oh yeah, of course it is.
That's Annie Lennox. Oh God, I love Annie Lennox. Don't make me do this. Jimmy Somerville and Eurythmics. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Because it's so upbeat. And that's what I love. He's upbeat. He's out there. And
it makes you want to dance.
And it makes you want to dance. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not a dancer, but I would go with that.
I'm sorry to hear that, Richard. I had you down as a dancer.
I would need some persuasion, but I sometimes get up. Yeah, sometimes. Mine would be Bruce Springsteen. That would get me going.
Oh yeah,
he'd get me dancing. Yeah, dancing in the dark.
Yeah.
Okay, Patrick, thank you so much for doing this today.
It's been a pleasure.
You've been absolutely fabulous and really interesting. So, Patrick Gillan, Ladder to Murder. If you audience want to read this book, where best to find it?
On Amazon.
On Amazon, and it's also seems to be for sale over a lot of places. So even if you just Googled it, there's lots of
Just
places you
Google
can buy it.
P. Gillan, Ladder
Yeah.
to Murder. So on the book, I'm P. Gillan,
Yeah.
Patrick Gillan. Just look for me and Google me if you want. Yeah, you'll find me.
Yeah, because you've got a great website, haven't you?
Yeah,
And you've got
yeah,
an online
yeah,
presence on
yeah.
Facebook and Instagram.
Uh-huh.
So I really urge you to check the book out because it's a great read. Thank you so much, Patrick. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Okay. Cheers.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Richard.
Bye-bye.